Hello, I am Xarkun. This is World of Warships Legends. Today I'm going to give you an overview of the next update, which is set to hit consoles on February 1st, 2021. The update cycle will last for 5 weeks and end on Tuesday, March 9th, 2021, instead of the usual Monday. But what's in store for us starting on February 1st? Watch this video to find out, and if you want to take a look at the patch notes for yourself, I left a link in the description. Aircraft carriers are coming to Legends as part of a test event during this update. A British heavy cruiser line will also appear in early access. A new game mode called Arena Mode will be added, and a new campaign will reward players with Tier 7 German battleship Siegfried upon completion. There are also some balance changes and some Lunar New Year content to round things out. Let's go over the highlights relevant to each of these new additions. The Carrier Test Event will take place in its own dedicated game mode called Airstrike, which is separate from regular standard battles, at least for the first 2 weeks of the update. This is great news, as it should prevent the test event from torpedoing regular matchmaking. As far as the test carriers themselves, we'll see 2 Tier 3 carriers, the Japanese Hosho and American Langley, and 2 Tier 5 carriers, the Ryujo and Ranger. To command these vessels, 2 new commanders will be introduced: Ernest King for the US carriers, and Taemon Yamaguchi for the Japanese ones. In order to access these carriers, you'll have to win a couple of battles in the test mode by playing a non-carrier ship. Only 1 carrier per side will be allowed, and bots will helm any surface ships that aren't commanded by players. Note that Wargaming will allow a few selected players to have access to CVs right away in order to collect more data. You can sign up to be one of these players by following the link in the description, but you'll have to complete the entry form by January 30th. After Wargaming has collected the data and feedback from the test event, they will bring carriers into the game as a 4th ship class several updates down the road. Now, some important points about CVs in their current form. Number 1, you can control only 1 entity on the screen at a time, so when your plane squadron is in the air, you will lose control of the carrier itself. Number 2, you have access to only 2 types of squadrons: dive bombers and torpedo bombers. The first type drops high explosive bombs that work a lot like HE shells, and the second, of course, drops torpedoes. Number 3, the anti-aircraft suites of surface ships will receive no changes, and the AA stats will not be added either. Wargaming expects that the current AA suites will be sufficient for the purposes of the event, even without new consumables or any rebalancing. Number 4, the AA guns of surface ships begin to fire as soon as an enemy aircraft gets close enough, but they do not affect the ship's detectability. Number 5, catapult fighters for all battleships and cruisers have been changed to make them more effective as countermeasures for enemy aircraft. And number 6, no service costs will be imposed on carriers for the test mode. Surface ships, however, will retain regular service costs. Wargaming adds that hitting enemy ships with torpedo bombers and dive bombers is going to be the most difficult aspect of the carrier gameplay. So if at first you feel like a potato, don't worry, it'll just take some practice. You'll be able to use surface ships of up to Tier 6 when playing against CVs in the test mode, and there will be a set of missions to incentivize you to play surface ships. I suggest that all of you do, since eventually you'll be playing surface ships against carriers in the standard game mode once they become a part of the game. Enough about carriers, though. Next up, the British heavy cruiser line. This new line will be arriving in early access, and these cruisers are very different from their light Royal Navy counterparts. They have access to high explosive shells, better armor, and improved repair party consumables that restore a higher amount of citadel damage. Additionally, they will have sonar and feature the uniquely British single-fire torpedoes. To gain early access to these ships, open the British cruiser containers available in-store and as campaign rewards. Keep in mind that the higher tier ships will have lower drop rates, and only tiers 4 through 6 are available in early access. The Tier 7 cruiser will not be available until the line comes out of early access in the next update. Also, as a side note, the crates will drop expendable Union Jack camos, which is kind of cool. As far as the ships that compose this new line, they are the Tier 4 Hawkins, Tier 5 Devonshire, Tier 6 Surrey, and Tier 7 Albemarle. Hope I pronounced that right. Moving on now to the Dragon Slayer campaign, for which the Tier 7 German battleship Siegfried is the reward. The ship, according to the patch notes, features powerful armor-piercing rounds, torpedoes, and sonars, so another torpedo boat German battleship is coming. Like the previous campaign, which featured the Icebreaker Havoc missions upon completion, this one will feature missions that grant you a new currency that sounds like it will remain part of the game for all updates to come, and that is steel. You can earn steel by reaching the final milestone of the campaign, regardless of whether you purchase the Admiralty backing. You'll also be able to get more steel from the daily and weekly missions, and steel will become increasingly more valuable as new resources and ships that require steel to unlock are added. We're getting the first steel ship in this update. It's the USS Missouri, which is quite exciting. However, the patch notes say that it will take experienced players several updates to acquire enough steel to get the Missouri, which will cost 30,000 steel. And now we move on to the final big addition, a new game mode called Arena Mode. Those of you who like to treat this game as a team deathmatch can get out the champagne and celebrate, because this is a team deathmatch mode featuring 4 teams composed of 3 ships. This game mode will be seasonal, much like Ranked, and the first iteration will feature Tier 5 ships. Apparently there is a competitive ladder to climb with this game mode, and the first iteration of the ladder will count all of your ship XP with boosters and premium bonuses applied. So those who play the most and use the most boosters will come out on top. However, in future iterations of Arena Mode, Wargaming will try different methods, including ones unaffected by boosters and premium time. Consider this a test season for this game mode. The biggest reward for the first season is 2,500 units of steel, which can either be stockpiled or used to purchase some goods in store, like commander items. Some important information about Arena Mode. Number 1, arena battles will take place from February 15th to March 9th. Number 2, the last ship standing will get a 30% extra XP bonus for them and their team. Number 3, the matchmaker will try to mirror the types of ships on all 4 teams. Number 4, there are no ship type limitations per division for this mode, but the less diverse your team is, the longer it'll take you to find a match. So don't ever try triple destroyer divisions in the arena, or anywhere else for that matter, just saying. Number 5, Arena Mode will feature friendly fire. Oh goody. So if you hit an ally, 33% of the damage will be applied to their ship. However, ramming does not count as friendly fire. Players who shoot at their teammates will get 0 XP for the battle, so don't do it. Be careful, especially if you're going to use torpedoes. And number 6, if there are ships from more than one team left alive at the end of the match is considered a draw, and no team receives the 30% XP bonus. Rewards will be credited as soon as the season is over, and a detailed list of rewards can be found in the patch notes. Getting close to the end here now, but there are a couple things left to go over. The Lunar New Year content will include a new home port and special content in the store that will become available on February 12th. You can expect the following content. Number 1, Southern Dragon and Eastern Dragon, which are visually different variants of the Tier 6 IJN cruiser Miyoko, and I think they're also premium ships. Number 2, Lunar New Year crates, which contain goods such as Air Dragon and Fire Dragon disposable camos. And number 3, a bundle containing an Ox patch and flag. Balance changes are also coming for a couple of ships. I'll highlight a few, but the rest can be found in the patch notes. Cheshire receives an improved rudder shift, reduced reload time, and a repair party that restores the same amount of HP in 9.3 seconds instead of 27. Charlemagne gets a decreased battery reload and minor armor improvements. Vanguard once again gets some changes, including a more powerful repair party and better shell grouping. And the Duke of York gets 2 sonar consumables instead of 1. There are also a couple changes to skills and consumables. The Fight Fire with Fire skill now works if damage control is on cooldown or totally depleted, like it can be on Russian battleships, and every battleship gets 3 enhanced secondary targeting consumables instead of 2. The cooldown on these consumables is also going to be reduced by 20 seconds. And that's pretty much it, apart from some miscellaneous items, none of which are especially interesting, but I'll highlight 3 important ones. Voice chat will now work between all platforms. Previously, next-gen Xbox players couldn't use voice chat with any PlayStation players, but now they'll be able to do that. Legendary rental ships will be removed from all accounts, and historical camos will be available for creation in the loadout menu on several Tier 5 ships. And that's all there is for this update. It's a pretty big one, and luckily I'll be on vacation from work when it drops, so expect an extra stream or 2 from me next week. Maybe I'll even stream on the day the update drops. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you haven't already. And with that, I'll see you next time. Goodbye.